afternoon, friends. I think my task will be easier than SR's task because the three veterans whom I'm going to introduce, if at all they need an introduction, are known to most of the crowd. But I remember SR, the earlier moderator, telling once, with the young audience, we need more pediatric insights versus geriatric advice. So I think we need to keep that aspect in mind in terms of giving the youngsters some kind of pediatric insights. So let me invite the panelists one by one first in the descending order of age. So first I would call Mr. Shivadas Menon, who is the Managing Director of Sterling Group of Companies, to the dais. Shivadas is a known figure. I think there was reference to him about agriculture, use of IT in agriculture. So I think Shivadas will also, despite his many years of wisdom, Shivadas, welcome to this panel. Nice to have you with us. Great. I was listening once to Tata Sons director, and he told, look, comb is one instrument you get when you get old and bald. But in the case of Shivadas Menon, the comb will be, I'm sure, very, very useful for all the youngsters who are assembled here in terms of what not to do and what to do in enterprise. Now let me invite Mr. Balagopal, IAS retired. He is also a known figure in the Kerala industry scene. He is from the IAS cadre who retired some time back and started a company called Terumo Pen Paul, and 28 years ago. And Bala, of course, sold off that company. As you know, the topic today is inception to exit. How to sell off a company is easily said than done, and I'm sure they will tell their experiences, which will be drawing a lot of guidance for the youngsters. Now the young pack in the crowd, my good old friend, my cooperative competitor, I mean, because I used to work for AVT, and Sanjay was my kind of a mentor when I started off in Kerala in 1995. Sanjay Mariwala from Omni, Active, and Cancor. He is a different kind of a businessman. He, as I told you, he is a guy who has been in sort of, I also used to take his advice when I was new to Kerala industrial scene when I joined in 95. So let me also shake hands with these two young gentlemen. Sanjay, welcome. Hi, Bala. Okay, now we will start our panel discussion now in terms of what we have decided is that since more of pediatric insights versus geriatric advice, we will leave about 30 minutes for the floor to ask questions, because we would like to, and none of them are going to tell their story. They will not say that I started the business in 1995 and then did this, did that. No, that's not the purpose. The purpose is to give some insight in terms of from inception to exit. What are the pains, or what are the good points, what are the pain points, what you go through when you are exiting a business. So let me start with the senior most person here, Shivadas Menon. Shivadas, you could, I think the beginning of this year, you could sell off part of your Sterling Group business to a big company in the US called Neogen Corporation, and it's not small. It's a $2.8 billion US conglomerate in testing, life sciences, the whole lot of it. Can you tell us what made you click? I mean, what made you invite them to invest in your company and take their shares? What was the, let me reframe the question. What were the outstanding features of Sterling, that part of the business, which attracted Neogen to you?
Creating a worthwhile organization, add value. In fact, this is not my core business, which I sold. This all happened in '87. I thought it's required for me to set up a full-fledged laboratory to develop new products in agriculture. I'm an agriculture man. So that lab actually helped me out and manage the whole thing in a very professional manner. That must have been the reason for an American company to identify this lab and decided to take over.
That means the professionalism in your organization was the key clincher.
Yes.
So that's one thing I think for the young startups to note, after a certain stage of growth of the organization, bringing in professionals is also the key to success.
Not only that, Kumar,
Yeah.
from the beginning itself, no, you manage the whole thing in a very professional manner. The day I started my company, maybe because of my exposure to a multinational company where I have worked for almost about 17 years, the values, especially, pay your tax on time and pay your, statutory, compliances on all that, you pay. You have a peaceful mind so that you can think. You don't have to worry about the tax man walking into your office and all that. That is one thing I would like to tell the youngsters here. A straightforward business, professional approach, and hard work, that must happen. And moreover, unwanted sort of in fact, this company, I understand they wanted to even find out whether I have any criminal background.
Oh, thank God they didn't check it.
and plus, whether I have bribed somebody, which has never happened in 27 years of my career. That must have been one of, yeah.
It's fantastic. I think that's a key learning, Shivadas. Thank you very much, because 2 points what you mentioned is the professionalism in the organization as well as the corporate governance. Following the rules of the land, the ethics behind the business are all driving. In fact, I will share one experience. I was in the startup village about a year back. One of the young girls who was doing her third year engineering in Model Engineering College, Trikakara, asked me, "Sir, can you tell me how to select a partner when you do a startup?" And frankly, I have started my advisory consulting firm only recently, so I have not, except my life partner, I have not selected any other partner in my life. So I was literally bowled by that question, and I would direct this to Bala, because Bala, if you look at his career, Bala is a very outspoken person. I mean, he's very forthright. He doesn't beat around the bush. But for his difference of opinion with his research supervisor in 1976, when he quit a PhD. Am I right, Bala? And, he then applied for IAS, got into IAS, that's all history. But what I'm coming here is, in terms of Bala's selecting a partner, like, thanks to Dr. Manmohan Singh in 1992, the liberalization started. And I think you started scouting for a partner at that time. I think 96 or 98, you came to Terumo. And Terumo was his joint venture partner. Terumo is close to about $8 billion US. So what we are talking here is about all big partners in their lives. I mean, here is Shivadas, who talked about 2.8 billion, and then Bala's partner was 8 billion US. Can you throw some light on how did you arrive at that particular partner? I mean, in your Terumo Penpal.
See, after the liberalization in 91, the writing was on the wall, in a manner of speaking, for companies like mine at that time, was that we knew that international competition is going to very soon be at our gates. I was operating in a field which is medical technology, and this field is a field, like so many other aspects in India, where there is a very strong preference, often for very good reasons, for foreign brands. So when I looked around, there was really, it was not too difficult to make a short list of companies with whom to start talking, because this is a field where there are not too many players. And the main reason being very high entry barriers, mostly regulatory in nature and technologically oriented entry barriers. So we were looking for some, for a company who will, some of the necessary conditions had to be that they had to be in the same domain, they had to bring technology, and they had to bring access to markets. Finance was actually only a secondary consideration, because for overseas companies and, in the medical devices space, investment is not a constraint. Unlike pharmaceutical products, if you see the medical devices space, mostly you find SMEs, small and medium scale enterprises. So we are talking about investments of $10 million, $15 million, etc. This is not such a huge amount. So finance was not the consideration. It was technology and access to markets. So very soon we shortlisted down to an American company, a large American company, Baxter and Terumo. These two between them were at that time the giants in the field. So we started talking to them. Now, I also, we did our part, but at the same time, I could see that they were also doing their scrutiny of India and potential Indian partners. So very quickly, I want to just introduce the other element is, what does actually, so I'm anticipating probably Kumar, the next question, and answering it here, is what does an established overseas company look for in an Indian partner? Now, I think there are many misconceptions about this. And people try to boost their size and their... Now, see, the thing is, as Shivdas said, before they start talking to you itself, they have a dossier that thick about you already. I mean, they know everything about you, which is out there in the public domain, including this, all your misdemeanors and good acts and everything. They get it done by professionals. So that part of it they know. In fact, in the first, the first bit of advice which I would give is when dealing with somebody is to be absolutely open. Because most of us, when we talk under the impression that they don't know too much about us. They don't know too much about our domain, and they don't know too much about India. It's a big mistake, because they know actually a lot of information is out there. So I think what attracted them, and here I want to reinforce the points which Shivdas said. See, after all, what were we? We were a small company of about 10 crores turnover and a little bit of profit, with a significant presence in the domestic market, and we were just beginning our export activity. So not anything very significant from a financial acquisition perspective. Why did they talk to us? They wanted to come into India. Now, India, already multinationals from their experience were realizing is a very difficult market to get into. It's a difficult market to penetrate for a variety of reasons, and bureaucratic hurdles are only one of them. So my point here is, they probably were looking for somebody who will be a partner. Now, when they were looking for, these are established companies, when they're looking for a partner, they're not looking for financial strength, they're not looking for big numbers, they're looking for somebody they can rely on, somebody they can trust, and somebody who understands and knows the business. I think these things are very important. And in fact, both my Japanese partners with whom I eventually signed up and the Americans with whom I initially started talking, they made a kind of comment, which I thought I should share with you. They said, Bala, in our talks with you, we are finding you remarkably open about answering everything, not having any hesitation in disclosing things, etc. Now, I think that's very important. This comes from this comes from a sense of confidence. Only if you're confident about yourself, only if you have some self-assurance, can you be, unafraid to be very open. And that, I think, is one of the most important qualities when you're going out to find a partner and to sign up a collaboration.
Excellent, Bala. I think that's, again, what you mentioned is basically the technology part and the market access are the two critical things. Plus, very open and candid discussions with your potential partner, so that basically finally it's all question of trust, correct? Trust in each other. Sanjay, I know you have been, if you can give them some input, because you're also running a self-help group of startups, right, called Accent in Mumbai. And if you can tell them as to, let's look at a situation, there is a fourth-year engineering college student, okay? They want to start up, okay? So the girl asked me, okay, how will I select a partner for my startup business? With your experience of helping so many startup entrepreneurs, can you throw some light in terms of the Indian context, selecting a partner?
So, yeah, I've had 3 experiences in picking up partners. So I think a lot depends on what I think is important to do is to think through why do you need a partner, okay, and what the partner is going to bring. And as Balasan said, I think it's also important that the partner knows why you're picking that partner. I think that's also important to discuss it out. So that when you enter into a relationship, it's transparent, it's understood, and it's not assumed or presumed that I may get this if I become a partner, and then you are disappointed that you don't get this. Okay. I think that's the last place you want to be in. So important point is knowing what you want and why you want it. So when we got our first partner, which was McCormick, okay, many years back in the early 90s. We spoke to them about the fact that we wanted them to take a minority stake. We didn't want them to take a majority stake. It took us almost a year to convince them to do that. The second was that we wanted business volumes to pick up because we wanted somebody to buy things from us. Okay. We wanted somebody to offtake our products so that we could grow. And the third thing was that we wanted to learn global quality standards so that we could upgrade ourselves to a level where any other customer would look at us and say, wow, this is a global company. It's not an Indian company. Okay. And when we went out and talked to them, we shared this with them. The second round of partners came when I looked at starting up Omni, when I needed some funding. Okay. So I needed a financial partner. And then we had to think through what kind of partners we needed financially. You can get a large fund, you can get a small fund, you can get angel investors, you can get many types of people. Question is, what do you need? We decided that we wanted a fund that was a financial fund which had a 4 or 5 year life left, okay? Because at the end of which we would want to buy them back. We started with a vision of the end, saying that we obviously want to own a large chunk of our company. And if we want to own it, we need a partner who's willing to sell it back to us. Okay. So we started with that. I have one regret in that. I got a partner and an angel investor. The angel investor today is still sitting on my company. He doesn't want to sell because the company is doing well. But the venture capitalists, we were able to buy back. Okay. So it exactly worked out the way it was. And then when we got the third partner, which was for Cancor's, the French partner, we decided that we wanted somebody who would take the company to its next level. Okay. Because we felt that there's a lot of steam left, there's a lot of value left here. It required investments, required somebody who was interested in that business, who was committed to that business, running it the way we do, and who brought a similar style of management, okay, which was, while there is an owner involved, and then there is a professional team involved. Okay, so we brought a partner, and we picked partners like that, and we negotiated with 3, and we picked 1 out of that process. So you have to go after looking at what is it that the business needs, what is it that you want, okay, and how do you make sure that these 2 paths cross, and what is it that the partner wants, and if these 3 paths cross, then I think you find the right process.
Excellent. I think this is again a key learning in terms of his first partner, McCormick, who also used to be a partner for the company I used to work, AVT McCormick. But his intention was very clear. He needed volume, he needed market access, and he needed technology there. But the second case was more of financial in OmniActive. And third case is like, which will come to a little later in detail, Sanjay, where he sold off his, it's almost 100% now sold off. Still not. It's a structured deal. So a certain part, 65% is sold. One thing I have assured them is in the question answer session, you will not ask them how much money they made by selling their companies. Okay, so when we go to Q&A, that question is not entertained because it's not a public limited companies, they are all private. Even though we are all good friends, none of them have disclosed what price they got. So don't ask that question. Anyway, that's a forewarning. So that is very interesting in terms of partners. So what Sanjay mentioned also is, before you decide on your partner, you look at 2 things. One is that what you don't have. And does your partner have what you don't have? That's one way of ensuring sustainability of partnerships. So for youngsters who are sitting here, definitely if you're looking at your college mate as a partner for having a startup, if he or she has the same strengths as you, I mean, it will still work, but ideally it may be better that a strength which you don't possess. So that being said, let me go to the second part in terms of, you want to add something on the part?
I didn't have a choice for partnership because I've been working for multinational companies for 17 years. And luckily my division, the agriculture division, was doing well. So when I decided to leave the company and start something on my own, a lot of people wanted to join me, including my senior. So I had one senior and a junior were my partners. So I didn't have any choice. But I would like to tell the young entrepreneurs here, it can happen to you also. Your classmate, college mate will like to take you as a partner. Got to be a little careful there. Initially, the going will be very good. Because I started very small company with little, what a provident fund and all I had, invested and all that. And when you start making money, the problem would start. So you not only select your partner, I think you should understand the partner's spouses also. I'm telling you, this is very, very important for the young entrepreneurs. That's it, Kumar.
Well, that is I think we need some more deeper insight into that, but I will leave it at that because so far we only talk about how to select a partner, but Shivada's advice is when you select a partner, look at the partner's spouse also. That's a very, very deep insight. Anyway, Bala, coming back to you, you successfully built a world-class quality organization. You know, in the blood bag sector, I think your company, your ex-company, was the world leader, you know. So how did you build such a world-class quality company in a Kerala local environment? What were your key learnings? You know, how much it eventually helped you in exiting that business in terms of valuation and all that? If you can throw some light.
That's a good question. You know, I think in India, we have a misunderstanding that world-class quality means, you know, the latest technology, which means the best technology, which means machines which are just coming out, etc. So we have this feeling that quality is somehow the other associated with finding the right machines and finding the right equipment. Now, if one thing which I've learned is that quality doesn't reside there. Those things may be necessary conditions, but they are not sufficient conditions. And the quality journey begins elsewhere. Actually, it begins right at the top. And it requires a kind of commitment from the management for voting for quality every time. And to walk the talk, management has to lead the way every time. See, if you just look at a small thing like this, and many people in the audience who are in manufacturing will know what I'm talking about. You just have to look at the number of concession notes which are issued on the, by the QA department, and you will know, is that quality policy something which is only enclosed in a brass plate in the managing director's room, or is it something which is real and meaningful down there? See, concession notes every time means something else is being given more importance than quality. If on the other hand, if it is a blunt no from the quality control department, not passed, go back, it's sent back. That sends a much more powerful message. And that's very difficult to do because it means money. It means some shipment doesn't go on time. It means no rework. And in India, I'm afraid, we have this term, jugad. I don't like that phrase at all, because everything gets, every dubious action and thing of questionable ethical and moral, everything gets bunched under this thing called jugad, which means you find a shortcut, find some way of doing it. I think there's only one way. If you want to get world-class quality, there's only one way to do it, and that is the right way. Ishikawa, the famous guru of quality, said, he's a Japanese guru of quality. So everybody thinks quality is all about robotics and latest equipment and all. Ishikawa-san said, the quality journey starts with the truth. It's almost as though he's preaching something, He's saying the quality journey starts with the truth. So you must start with some sort of basic fundamentals. So we had one big advantage. In fact, when I look back on my brother and I, when we started this company, 25, 28, or nearly 30 years ago, we started off with all, everything was disadvantages, one big advantage. And what was that advantage? We had never run a company before. We had never run a business before. And hence, we were not carrying any commercial baggage of any kind. So we decided to go by the book. And that probably in medical device manufacturing turned out to be, instead of a big disadvantage, turned out to be a biggest advantage. At that, when we started out, there were no regulatory standards which were mandatory. So what did we do? We did many things counterintuitive. We looked around for which are the toughest standards in the world. And they were the UK DHSS standards, which were even stricter than the US FDA standards. So we adopted the UK DHSS standards for our own internal decisions when there was no compulsion for us to do so. So now I do a fast forward 25 years from, or say about 20 years from the time when I started the company. As a result of all this, we emerged the market leaders in India. We became a significant player in the export market. And these big guys, these are guys who wrote the book, manufacturing. Baxter and Terumo, between them commanded 70% of the global market for blood transfusion products. they too were willing to talk to a small company because they had already done their due diligence. They knew that if we have to get through regulatory approvals in so many countries where we were competing with them, our manufacturing had to be good. Our manufacturing processes and quality processes had to be good. Otherwise, we will not even be permitted into those markets.
Yeah, I think you made a very pertinent point, Bala. Like you mentioned, though, we have the best equipments, best processes, best systems. It's about the people make the difference in terms of the quality. And he told a very important point. We are all Kerala, most of them are Kerala people, and we buy fish. When you go to buy fish in the market, how do you find the fish is fresh or started decaying? നമ്മുടെ തലയിൽ ഇങ്ങനെ എന്താ പറയുന്നത് I don't know what's English word used. You look at it. Gills. Why you look at it is because, like any organization, the fish also start decaying from its head. So if you have to practice quality, I think the top leadership, as he rightly mentioned, it should not be a piece of old wooden frame which is there saying quality is our signature or something like that. So that's an important thing, and how much value it finally added at the end of the day. Sanjay, to throw a little more into, you did touch this point in terms of, you are one person in this group, which is very unique among the three of you. You bought out McCormick 40% and made it 100%. And then you sold off the French flavor company, which is also a very big giant, which is about 1.5 billion US dollar group. So you brought 40% and made it 100% your company. Now you're selling it off. What were the triggers for this?
So, as I said, I think the mission of bringing in McCormick was to learn and to grow at that point of time. I remember in those days we were a small company. We were doing about 20 crores or so of business in the late 80s, early 90s, when we were looking at how do we break into certain markets. And we said, the only way we'll break into markets is when those companies that are making their own products stop making those products and start buying from us. So how do you convince somebody to do that is what was our mission in those days. And we walked up to 3 companies and we found a willing taker in McCormick to say, we are interested in their story. Okay, that how do we stop doing what we are doing so that we can do it cheaper, we can do it better, and we can do it more efficiently. And I think that's the story that worked with McCormick. When they came in, we built a new plant on a global standard basis. We put in new equipment, we put in new quality systems, and we started supplying to them, and with them started marketing it all over the world. So, which helped us grow. Okay. Not only did it help us grow, but the discussion at that point in time with McCormick was also very clear, which was, you will remember that, but the McCormick at one point in time used to have a signature line, which is, now it's called quality is our signature.
Quality is our signature, yeah.
In those days it was, we manufacture everything we sell. So that was a very powerful statement. They had to make everything they sold because that was the dictum given by the founder. To say, we don't sell anything we don't make. So now that was a dilemma at that point in time, that how can they take 40% and can they claim that they make it? So obviously somebody legal convinced them that at 40% also you are making it. So there was no challenge, which worked out well for us. And the deal was that this was a 5-year window in which they were working on a mission to change that statement. That we do no longer need to make everything you don't have to make everything we sell. Okay. And we don't have to sell everything we make. That change had to be put into place. So the discussion at that point in time was that over a period of 5 years, perhaps they will exit. And we said that's a good place to be, because if you help us with these things and then you want to exit, we'll work out a mechanism to buy you back. Okay. And that was an understanding before we got into the joint venture itself, in a certain way.
Okay.
So that was what was understood, because what they were trying to do is they were trying to change their manufacturing processes. If you looked at the business in the last 15 years, they have evolved from being an industrial player to a predominantly retail player, product player. So they needed to get out of all the industrial businesses, which is what they were giving back to their vendors. So this was the arrangement they made with the vendor, in a sense. Okay. And they were happy getting out, we were happy buying them out. Okay. It kind of worked out very well for everybody. And we signed up an agreement for them to continue buying the product with us as well. So that also gave us an upside in the business. And then we could go out and say we are free of McCormick, but we have McCormick standards. So we could also sell to many other customers.
So you had best of both worlds, yeah.
Absolutely correct. So that was the advantage of buying back. Now, why did I sell to MAN? that is another whole chapter in my history, which is, I looked at it saying, from there the business has grown quite a bit, and to grow it to its next level needed a whole lot of new investment. And my choice was, where do I invest? Do I invest in the Omni business, or do I invest in the Cancor business? The level of investments required in the Cancor business were significantly higher. Okay. And I felt that we needed somebody who already had those investments in place, would find it much more easier to do, and would be willing to pay us a reasonable value for the business. So we felt that was a better decision to get out of the Cancor business, and let somebody run it who can actually grow it more efficiently. Because where we needed to invest was in US, in China, in Europe. And those investments require long-term gestation, larger, larger periods of returns required, take longer period of time. And it needed somebody who already had those investments in place to be able to get quicker traction in those markets. And we felt this was a much better arrangement to make. And that gives me time to focus on the Omni business.
That's a good input again, like to just put things in perspective. I mean, because it was not made clear by me. Like Sanjay has two lines of business. One is the Cancor, another is Omni. Cancor is the basic ingredient oleoresin extract business, whereas Omni is in the value-added nutraceutical business. So he had a choice at that time. And the learning from this is like, if I have to invest my money, where do I put in my money? I mean, and whatever is finally good for the organization is what you took the stand, in terms of Cancor, in terms of selling off.
So you had to take a decision which is good for the company,
okay,
which is important, because you need to pick the right partner, you need to pick the right people to stay there and make it run, and do something which is good for the business so that it stays intact and it can grow. Okay. And at the same time, it gives me the power to do my own thing, which is to get after the Omni business.
Okay, one question to Sivadas. You have been the former president of TIE. In your part of your business exiting to Neogen, to what extent TIE networking and TIE involvement helped you in terms of structuring the process, and can you throw some light in terms of how an organization TIE can be, not that TIE specializes in exit process, but I'm sure with your kind of experience, Sivadas, can you throw some light to our members on that line?
Let me be very frank with you, that TIE has considerably helped me, not only for exiting, also for developing. Opportunity to interact, network with people, but little different. In fact, agriculture is not one of the thing what TIE was doing before. Jose Dominic, he said, Sivadas, we must have a agriculture, division or whatever you call it. I came into that. And 87, when I formed this company, as my colleague, my friends, in agriculture, there is no other companies were prepared to join hands with me. But TIE got an opportunity for me to travel, interact with people, those who are not in agriculture, but certainly showed a lot of interest in agriculture. And to be very frank, this deal, this exiting, one of my very close friends in TIE is responsible. So, in fact, I can tell you, TIE involvement is there in this exit. He is here sitting in front of me, but I had 3 offers from different multinational companies, one from Switzerland, one from UK. I would have got a better value if I had agreed to exit to sell my company to that Swiss company. But I took a final decision because my friend is here later, because selling means not selling like a lot of selling a house. You forget about it after selling. It's, it will stay, got to be with the company for 2-3 years. So I always thought that even if the value is slightly lower, let's be with a person who knows me well, and he will not put me in trouble. I can even disclose his name, Roy. In fact, Roy brought the,
but Roy was on the other side of...
other side.
Roy was on the Neogen side.
I thought he'll be with my side, but the thing is, the last moment he betrayed me. She went to the other side, but still unofficially used to tell me, Sivadas, do this and all that. So, that's it.
We'll just open the floor for questions in another few minutes. Before that, some general questions, not to anything specific to each of these three gentlemen. I was last week in Chennai Tycon. Ronnie Screwvala was talking about his UTV business and how he sold it off to, Walt Disney. One thing he told there is, never, I'm just quoting him, never build a business with a plan to exit. He says he started this children's channel called Hangama, and the Disney guys didn't know even how to pronounce it. Okay, so what is your take, quickly, any one of you, in terms of, did you have any idea that, look, when you started to sell? Yeah, please, any one of you, I mean, all three of you.
I think I fully agree with Ronnie Screwvala about this. I mean, I keep hearing this term nowadays called serial entrepreneur. I'm really not able to understand that. So anyway, I won't get into that. I don't want to be misunderstood.
There are a lot of serial entrepreneurs sitting here.
So I won't say that. I mean, people starting businesses with a view to selling them, I would be very hesitant of buying any business from such a guy, frankly. Now, on the other hand, I think, for the businesses which you start, I think if embedded inside in that business plan is the idea that you're going to exit 2 years later or 3 years later, I don't see how you could, it seems to me counterintuitive, or it sort of seems to me something impossible to achieve. That how can you build a world-class enterprise if that was your idea, to get out 2 to 3 years? So I need not spell it out. I think in great detail, we don't have the time here.
Okay.
But I can just say that I think you build an enterprise because it's following, something which you dreamt about. You want to make it world-class. It may be a projection of your ego, whatever it is. But you build it because you want to make something really
valuable
special.
Then.
You don't build it to sell.
Sanjay, would you like to throw a light on that quickly?
Sure. I think it's, first of all, in today's day and age, I don't think you can see beyond 3 years. You are not doing anything, sell it with a specific purpose. I think if you start with that, as Balasan said, then you're building, then it's a project. It's not a, if it's a business, then there is passion applied to it. And you don't apply passion to a project necessarily. You apply passion to a business, and that's how business becomes what it is. And that's why there is a soul to it. And what people buy, that's why you pick the right partners. Because you pick the right partners because they're also buying that soul. They're not buying the business. They want to know what works in the business. Okay? And they want to buy that. And that's really what will happen eventually. But that's not what you start with. I don't think you enter a business saying that you're going to sell it. Having said that, I always say that if you take money, you borrow money, or you have another partner, then you must have clarity in your head in terms of how are you going to give him or her an exit. Because you can't get into, it's like the Mahabharata story. You can't get into a Chakravyuh without an exit plan. That's very important because otherwise you'll land up in a mess, and sometimes a lot of businesses have failed when the partners don't agree to what to do about getting each other out of the business. So that becomes a very, very troublesome process. So you have to have a balance in these two things. You are not necessarily getting into business with a plan to exit. You may have to for various reasons is another issue, or you may choose to for obviously positive reasons. But getting the funder or a partner out is a must do, and you have to think it through. If you don't think it through, you'll land up in a lot of trouble.
Sudas, you would like to add any quick point on?
Yeah. I mean, mine, I never thought that, I'll be able to sell this lab. I sold only 20% of the group company as it is. And I did the best possible. I started the lab to, take the, quality parameters of the product which been manufactured in the main company, that's fertilizer and inputs, which actually helped me to scale up the quality of the products and export to almost about 30 countries. Then I realized there's a value for the lab. I never thought that offers started coming in. So I thought my age, my children are not very keen to come back and help me out. Then I thought this is the best thing to do. And moreover, I needed money. I didn't want to go after banks and financial institutions. I still believe that it's not that easy to get that sort of a funding to satisfy my passion. That's in agriculture. Now again, I'm very active. The money what I made, a little bit of money, I'm investing back into the company. Incubation center in agriculture, as Mr. P.H. Kurian has been telling, I said, actually the government should have started that, but it's always a limitation. You cannot always depend upon the government, at least in the private sector. It's almost getting ready. I would like to train people in high-tech agriculture and see that at least we eat pesticides-free vegetables. And we celebrate our Onam 2016 with our own vegetables this is my passion.
Without pesticides.
Yes.
Great. Okay, I will, before I open it out to questions to the audience, we have almost 15 minutes time left. Again, I'm quoting Ronnie Screwvala on this. When you sell a business, dealing the two, passion and emotion. I think Sanjay mentioned about passion. Somebody is buying your passion, but nobody is buying your emotion. Okay? So it's very difficult, since it's an interesting subject, like, many of the entrepreneurs or long-time businessmen, like all the three friends we have here, when you decide to sell off, did any emotions play in your mind? Just quick one-sentence answer. Did you feel emotional about it? Like, now, for example, Bala is out of Penpal, and did you have any emotions? In the sense, did you feel bad that you are selling off? Quickly, one line answer.
One line. Anyway,
okay, maybe two lines.
Let me say that I am surprised at the fact that I was able to take the decision to sell, and that after that, the fact that I have not felt bad about it, and I felt it was the best thing for both the company and for me. Short answer.
Very good. Sanjay, passion versus emotion in selling a business?
No, I have no emotions.
You have no emotions?
Absolutely. Business is money. Ultimately, why do you do money? I think it's important that a lot of people think differently.
Yeah.
But you can do many things with money. But business you do for money.
Good.
You don't use it to only occupy yourself, because that you can earn more money in the stock market. Yeah. Why do you have to do that unless you are very good at this? Yeah. So unless you're very good at it, you don't do business. And when you're good at it, you make good money. If you don't make good money, you should not do that business. It's very simple.
I went into depression for 2 months. It's a fact. And I took some medicines also as per my advice of my company. It was very painful.
So there are two viewpoints here. Sanjay says, of course, both have their own viewpoints, and it's not that one is right, another is wrong. He says, look, he had emotional turmoils, and Sanjay says, business is money. Which is true, but what Ronnie Screwvala finally concluded in the Icon Chennai is that when you sell, keep the passion intact and do what is right for the brand. Number two, what is good for my people and my organization. So that is what it is, and all three of them have done it, because the organizations what they are leaving also are going to do well, are already doing well. So now I open the floor for questions, please.
My name is Maxi Jose from Fluence Financial Services. I have the question for all three gentlemen. This is a follow-up to the question you asked earlier, that you shouldn't have a business if you're planning to exit, or don't plan a business with the exit. But there are people who are good at ideation, good at innovation, good at creating it, but not capable of building businesses and take it to the next scale. There are a lot of people who do this. So what do you do with such people who can create? They have ideas, but they can't take it forward beyond a certain limit.
You're asking how to take the idea forward?
My question is there are a lot of people like this.
Build beyond create a scale is what you're saying.
Yes, so there are a lot of people who do this.
Am I understanding that correctly, that they are able to get it started, but they're not able to build a scale?
Absolutely.
Well, all of us are not necessarily good at everything. We are good at some things. Okay, that's what you hire people for. So one of the things you have to be good at is to hire the right people. Okay, and they will help you grow the business, because I'm not an engineer, but I was in a chemical processing business, okay? But, and I'm in a more biotech business today, which is, I don't even understand. Right? But it's growing well because you hire the right people, and you pay them well, and you keep them motivated, and you get them to stay with you. And that's how you create a business. I think that's important. You don't have to necessarily sell a business for that.
Good morning. My question is to Balagopal sir. I would like to know whether valuation of the business or the company, is it more of an art or a science, especially for a startup?
Well, one thing I can tell you is science part of it, you know, all the various valuation methods and all that, I think everyone here in this room will probably be knowing better than I do. But one thing I can tell you is, I had as my advisors one of the very respected merchant banking firms in India. I'm trying to answer your question, you know, is it a science or an art? They told me very categorically over 2-3 sessions that I could expect a valuation of X, certain amount for my company. And eventually we got 2.5 times that valuation. Now, how was that possible? I mean, they know as experts from using the discounted cash flow method and using various discount factors, and you know, my head used to spin with all the kind of thing. I knew I am not going to sell the company for anything less than this much. That's it. And so finally what I'm trying to say is, while a basis for valuation exists in the form of this method and that method, finally it comes down to negotiating across the table. And a price is always arrived at depending on how important it is for the buyer and how much you're willing to concede. So it's a typical kind of negotiation. So this is an important element, is that, see, so you must keep that at the back of your mind. When you go and talk to people and experts in inverted commas, they know what they're talking about, of course. They have seen many companies. But only you really know in your heart at what price are you willing to sell. You, of course, know what is the market and what are the realities, all those things you know. But I'm telling you what my actual experience was. And so this is something which they still talk about in that particular merchant banking firm. The team which advised me were, you know, and they said they do come across several instances like this. And of course, they probably also come across promoters who accept whatever they say. So it is what you are prepared to also accept.
So Bala, you expected X and you got 2.5X. What is that X number? Okay, next question, please. Going up there at the center, please. Take the microphone to her.
Good afternoon, sir. My question is to all the 3 gentlemen. When you exit a business, how is it that your family, your friends, do we really have to consider about them? Is it a point to be noted? How do you exit?
Can you just speak a little more louder, please?
When you exit a business, how is it perceived from your family, your friend side, your competitors?
From the family and friends, how do they look at it? When you exit a business, from what point of view?
When, as a commoner, when we read the paper, so when Mr. X has exited this business, how is it perceived in the common man's?
How family and friends see that? I mean, you're seeing family friends see it as a weakness or a strength or from an emotional standpoint?
No, certainly we discuss with the family when you exit. And I think they should be happy when there is money coming in. The family should be happy. And especially that money is going to be spent for other business or plowing into new business. I don't think any reason for family unhappy. And the friends, of course, they say, you should have continued with the business for a while, they would say, because they want to see you doing well. Good friends I'm talking about. And that's the feeling.
I think, I don't know, in my case, I got congratulations from everybody. It kind of worked out well, I suppose. It also depends. I think it's more, it's really not a question of their thinking. Yeah, family you consult because you need to buy them into the plan. They may be owners as well. It's more your feeling of how they will think rather than what they really think. Okay. So if it's really your feeling of how they think, it's a matter of how you explain it and how you sell it and how you convince, how you share, what information you share with them. That matters really. Okay.
No, I think in my case, it was that people, I'm talking about the context of Kerala and Trivandrum and family-run businesses, etc. So selling your business, it seemed to be something, you know, something unusual. Why would anybody in his right senses sell his business, you know? And see, obviously, you can't sell it. I mean, if you sell your business when everything is going down, then that's understandable. You're just getting out of a losing business. So if the business is doing well and everything is going up, why should you sell it? So I think that raises, there were questions like this, and I'm sure there's still some speculation on in my friend circles and my relatives and all that. But that is one side to it. I think the other thing is that in Kerala, particularly where family businesses predominate, and India also where this is a fact, I think we need to move, if business has to grow and the business ecosystem and entrepreneurial ecosystem has to grow, we need to move to the next level where we understand that, there is a kind of, in this ecosystem, it's like a food chain. Bigger companies will buy smaller companies who will buy the smaller companies. That's how companies grow. That's how business happens all over. This kind of buying and selling. This emotional attachment, this feeling that the company is like my son or my daughter and getting, with a lot of emotional baggage around it and all. That is, I think, the early stage of industrialization or of business and commerce. We have that kind of feeling. And especially if it is second generation and third generation family business, then you feel the burden of, all these past generations pressing down on your shoulder, I guess. So it's not very easy then to, even if you get a good offer, to say, let's sell, because you feel you're letting down past generations and ancestors are going to frown on you and all kinds of other things. I fortunately didn't have all that kind of burden on me, but I understand your question. It's very interesting, but I didn't face any of those problems.
An exit in the interest of the growth, further growth of the business, further good of the people, further greatness of the organization, independent of what your family and friends say, that's a way forward. You wanted to make some quick point on the small and medium.
This is for my young friends. I just want to, I'm happy that I could sell the lab to an American company because which has started very, very small. So there is an opportunity for small companies also to find investment. That also, people say investing in Kerala is a problem and you will end up in problem. No. Kerala, it can happen, and successfully it happened. And I think you should not just think that you are small, you can't sell your company. You still can sell the company. Just wanted to say that.
Okay, we may have time for one last question, if there are still, there are so many hands going up. Maybe the gentleman there in the middle, the jacket. Yeah, just give it.
Hello everyone, I'm Imran. I just wanted to pose this question to all of you. We talked a lot about exit. I just want to know about the inception part. A person like me who graduated 1 or 2 years back, we have the ideas with us, but maybe we are not having that family background or maybe that financial support we are seeking for. And at that crunch moment, you go for an angel investor. And what are the probabilities that your ideas is getting leaked, and how one can overcome that fear in his mind?
I think this question is more related to the inception and the funding part. Maybe Sanjay, you can throw some light because, family having a background, except Sanjay Mariwala, who is from a family business background. Otherwise, both Bala and...
But when I started a new startup, which was OmniActives, and I went to the family to ask for money, and they said, no, they are not going to give me. They said to me that the idea is too risky. You don't know anything about biotech. Why should we fund you? You go out and get funding from the outside, and if they give you some funding, then we will match it. This was exactly what happened to me, is what is happening to you. So whether you call it family background or not, I went to the family for money, but they refused to fund it. So I went out and I found a venture capitalist and an angel investor who funded it. How do you take care of the risk? That's a matter of the documentation you draw up in terms of the NDAs before you open up anything. So that is what TiE is for. That can help you exactly do what you need. TiE can mentor you through that process, and we're more than happy to talk to you about it.
Okay, I think, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big round of applause to our panelists. I'm sure many of you are feeling quite hungry, and a very sumptuous lunch is organized there. So before I conclude and hand it over to Sri Priya, only one conclusion here. Power of ideas, which this gentleman last talked about, team strength, which all of us talked about, funding, courage, speed, all are important. But equally important is your timing. Don't waste your time in terms of when to launch your enterprise. Don't wait. How many of you know that the big Airbnb, and also Uber started the time of 2008, 2009, when the whole world was going down. So if somebody had asked these promoters, okay, should we start at that time, if that time opinion poll, they would have told, oh, no, this is the wrong time to start. So apart from all what we talked about, power of ideas, teamwork, funding, courage, speed, your timing is very critical. Don't waste your time and launch it right now. And TIE is, as Sivadas Menon mentioned, those people, I am not soliciting business for TIE. We are for a not-for-profit organization. Those members who are non-members, those who are in the audience are non-members, please join TIE. You will get enough bandwidth to look at not only exiting, but also the last gentleman asked inception, how to carry about it, mentoring, education, networking, everything. So thank you all once again, and I hand over to Sri Priya now.
At the moment of the session, once again, I would request Sri M.S.A. Kumar to hand over mementos to our panelists. Sri C. Balagopal. To Sri Sanjaya Mariwala. And to Sri Shivdas Bhimanu. Thank you, sir. Now I would request Sri G. Vijayaraghavan, Charter Member, TIE and Member of State Planning Board, to present a memento to Sri M.S.A. Kumar. Thank you, sirs, once again.